So today I'm going to give you my review of Captain America Brave New World because I just got out of the theater literally 2 seconds ago, and I've seen a few reviews of it and I've seen the Letterboxd rating, and I think people were a little bit disappointed with this movie. It wasn't a huge flop from what I've seen, but it wasn't major success. So I'm going to give you my 2 cents on it because the Captain America trilogy is like that, and the Spider-Man trilogy are my favorite of the little series from the MCU. So I do feel like I'm qualified to speak on this movie because also Civil War is my literal favorite movie. Also, I'm wearing my Marvel shirt. So like I love Captain America, and I loved like Falcon and the Winter Soldier and all that, like obsessed with this franchise. So anyway, now that that's done, this movie, basically it's kind of giving more Captain America and the Winter Soldier, the second of the trilogy, because it's very much about like politics and the government and whatnot. And like the Captain America movies are very tied to government stuff, so that makes sense for this to also follow that sort of thing. And it's about Thaddeus Ross, who is the president, and okay, so here's the thing. He has some tie to Hulk, but I've never seen the Incredible Hulk movie, so I don't know if he's in that, but I personally haven't seen that one because it's not... Is it part of the MCU? I don't even know. But I haven't seen that. And so, like, I don't really know what's going on with Thaddeus Ross as a character, if he's been in stuff before. But, let me not crash. Okay. I would say, overall, I thought this movie was fine. Didn't think it was a big flop. But I did not like Thaddeus Ross's part in it. I was confused on, like, whether it was supposed to be a statement of corruption in the government, which, like, I think it was, but it, like, came around in the end with, like, oh, we're supposed to feel bad for him and his daughter. I didn't feel any, like, literally the part at the end, this is completely a spoiler review, by the way, at the end, when Ross is, like, in the raft and his daughter comes, felt nothing. There was nothing that made me feel any sympathy for that man. Like, I didn't really understand what was going on with him the entire time. He was just like lashing out, and like with the current political situation of the United States, I have no sympathy for a president who is just like a sobbing boo-hoo man. Like, I just don't care. So he was like, for me, he really dragged the movie down in my opinion. But there was a lot of other stuff that lifted it up in return. So I'm going to talk about that next. So just know, like, the reason I wasn't a huge fan of this movie is because of Thaddeus Ross. But I'll go on to Sam next. I think, as just like blanket statement, Anthony Mackie's incredible. Just got to put that out there. The way that, like, I'm sure when they introduced the Falcon to the MCU, they were not thinking, like, oh yeah, he'll be Captain America. I'm sure they were not thinking that. Although, like, in the comics, he does become Captain America. But, like, there's a lot of stuff that happens in the comics that they don't necessarily follow. Because there's a lot of comics. But, Anthony Mackie was just so incredible in all the movies leading up to this that they were like, yeah, he can fully do this. And so he's incredible. I do wish that, like, with Sam becoming Captain America and becoming the leading man, he didn't have to give up so much of his humor. 'Cause, like, he's so funny. Anthony Mackie is so funny. But when he becomes Captain America, he has more of, like, a pressure on him and has to sort of, like, show himself in a certain way, and he's not the sidekick anymore. Like, when he was Captain America's little sidekick, he was, like, you know, out there, like, scruffy, like, you know what I mean? Him and Bucky, like, fooling around and just, like, running around and stuff, but that's not really his spot in the hierarchy anymore, so he's not as funny in this movie, although he is still, like, he's more, he used to be very much like, okay, so I'm crashing. He used to be very much like, what was I gonna say? A little more, like, immature and just, like, fooling around. Oh, so this is spooky. You can go, babe. I'm not going, bitch. I'm so sorry. Oh, perfect. That's actually perfect. Sorry, interruption. The UPS truck was in my way. But literally, what was I saying? Sam used to be immature, sort of, and, like, the little, like, saying jokes he shouldn't, whatever. Now, he's more of just, like, a sweet, kind of funny, and, like, sure, that's great. Like, I'll take it. It's funny. But yeah, he's just, like, a sweet guy, like, helping out the people. And I love that. It really taking on, like, the Steve Rogers of it all. So, there's that. And then, girl. Oh my gosh, I actually can't drive, y'all. Sam is great. I wish he was still a little funnier, but it's okay. Because they brought in Torres, who was in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I believe. I don't entirely remember, but I'm pretty sure he was there. And he is now sort of taking on the Falcon role, which love. I was nervous going into this movie about that Sam thing of him not being as funny as he used to be and being like, who's going to really carry the comedy of this movie? And Torres really took that spot. As soon as he started talking and having lines, I was like, okay, I see where we're going. I see what he's doing here. I loved it. So yeah, there's that. Torres is so cute. I love him. I hope he sticks around as the Falcon for a while. Next, I just have to get into our little cameo. Again, this is a spoiler review. This is the biggest spoiler of the movie, I'd argue. Bucky. Oh my god. Oh my god. Y'all, had a heart attack in that theater. I had a heart attack. But when this movie started, or before this movie started, I was like, when the Thunderbolts trailer came on beforehand, and I was like, God, I just wish that Bucky was in this movie. Because, like, Falcon and the Winter Soldier ended with Bucky and Sam being, like, pals, and them having their whole arcs, and it's so beautiful, and all this stuff. And I was like, why would I throw that away? The only reason I can think of is logistically, Sebastian Stan couldn't be filming Thunderbolts and Brave New World at the same time, which if that's the case, I accept it fully, because Thunderbolts, I'm so excited for. Like, that's gonna be, like, I think that has the potential to be my next top favorite Marvel movie, truly. So, like, I would rather him be in Thunderbolts all day. I just wish he could have also been in this movie more, because I just love Bucky. But I do see that, like, Bucky being in this movie may have taken away from the Sam of it all, so, like, respect that. But when Bucky showed up, because I fully, like, I'm pretty sure I read a review on Instagram of this movie where the person was like, Bucky isn't in the movie, something like that. Like, I literally was like, dang, like, there's no cameo. I'm so happy it wasn't spoiled for me. I'm so happy. And when he walked into that hospital, I literally was, like, sitting here. And, okay, I will say, there's, like, a midpoint climax of the movie in which there's a whole, like, literal, like, missile battle with Japan, with, like, the Japanese army. And then that end, I was kind of bored during that part because it was a lot of politics and, like, a lot of Thaddeus Ross. And I was like, I don't care about Thaddeus Ross. I don't care about Thaddeus Ross. So that was sort of like, okay. And so I was like, okay, so that wasn't actually the climax of the movie. We still got more to go. And so he's sitting there. Torres is injured. And then Bucky walks in. And I was sitting and I literally leapt. I was leaning. I was like, Oh, and it was so quiet in my theater. No one moved a muscle. But I was literally, like, grabbed onto Julia, and I was like, like, they had me gagged. And I literally was just so happy. Like, Bucky is something else. Like, he is something else. I love Bucky. Let's just get that straight. So, he showed up. So exciting. And then, I couldn't even tell you what he said. He was basically just like, it's gonna be okay. Like, it was a little pep talk moment. Love. But, like, I don't even remember what he said in the scene, because I was just holding on to Julia, and I was like, oh my god, like, my heart was racing. I was so excited. So that was probably my favorite part of the movie. But, there was that, and so, like, that was great, and then, yada, yada, yada. Awesome. I will talk about the Red Hulk thing quickly. They spoiled the Red Hulk thing in the trailer, which is, like, something I've seen a lot of people talking about, because, like, why would they do that? I have no clue. They were probably trying to get people to come see the movie, so they put in the Red Hulk thing. Personally, I don't really care about Hulk as, like, any form of Hulk. She-Hulk, the show, hilarious. I like She-Hulk. I thought it was fine. I don't necessarily need to see more of it. I don't care about Hulk's son. I don't care about Red Hulk. I barely care about Hulk. I only care about Hulk because of Bruce. I like Bruce Banner. But, like, Hulk as a hero. Is he a hero? No. I guess he is. I don't know. I just don't care about Hulk. So the whole Red Hulk thing was really, like, do not care. But yeah. I just had to put that in there. And then I'm going to talk about Isaiah Bradley for a brief moment, because that... Okay, so I said the Bucky scene was my favorite in the movie, which, excluding that, the best part of the movie was when Isaiah, like, snapped out of his thing when he shot at the president and was, like, running around DC, and then he woke up in the garden. That was the highlight of the movie, because, like, the way... Oh, it was literally so sad. Like, I sat there and I literally said to Kat and Julia, I was like, this is, like, actually so sad. Isaiah Bradley is such a highlight to this movie and to Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And he's sort of, like, if we're thinking of the Captain America movies as, like, a format that this movie was trying to recreate from the first three, then, like, Sam is the new Steve Rogers, Torres is the new Falcon, and Isaiah is the new Bucky, which I think is great, and I think they needed something like that to make this movie to the next level, because, like, Captain America has to have some personal connection to it. It's not like he's just doing it for the country, which is part of it, but it's really not his, like, main motive. It's always, like, that one person. For Steve, it was he's doing it for Bucky, and for Sam, it was, like, he's doing it for Isaiah, because... For those of you who don't know, briefly, Isaiah was, I think he was the only black super soldier, or, like, he had the super soldier serum, but then he was never actually, like, put out on missions or anything. He was never turned into a hero like Steve Rogers was. He was just, like, imprisoned and then tested on for years and years. I think he might have been part of whatever Bucky was part of, and then that's why he was put into jail, and then for 30 years he was imprisoned, like, against, like, unfairly, and then a bunch of tests and labs and stuff were ran on him for years and years and years, and then he was finally let out. And then in this movie, he gets, like, brainwashed into shooting and trying to assassinate the president. And then he's, like, running out, and then he, like, snaps out of it, and all these guns are pointed at him, and he's about to be taken to jail again, and he's looking at Sam, and he's like, I can't go back, I can't do this again, please. And then, oh my god, in the scene where they, like, push him to the ground, and they're, like, handcuffing him, and he's like, not the suit, because he, like, right before they were talking about how his suit was, like, all nice, and it was, like, he got married in it or something. And it was just such an emotional, like, it was really good. That part was really well done. And the thing is, like, not to compare this to the other Captain America movies, I don't think... this is just a criticism of this movie specifically, is like the other movies are so tied into like the whole Steve and Bucky thing. Like very often it is tied back to him. And there's like an emotional moment of like, oh, we're trying to save Bucky, poor Bucky. Which is why everyone loves Bucky. But in this movie, I feel like there could have been a little more Isaiah Bradley. Like, I just he was such an interesting part of the movie. So much more than Thaddeus Ross. I wish there was just more of him. Because I was not liking Thaddeus Ross like that. Like, I didn't understand what his point was in the movie. Like, if I was supposed to feel bad for him, if I was supposed to hate him, if it was a commentary on, like, the American government. I have no clue. But yeah. And I will say quickly, in this movie, when they brought up the Sokovia Accords, I was like, because, again, Civil War is my favorite Marvel movie, and it stays relevant, bro. Like, the Sokovia Accords are brought up in nearly every movie, and I love it. So, yeah, that's my review of the movie. I'd probably give it, like, a 3.5 out of 5, but, like, that sounds low, but I'm like, go watch the movie. Like, it's a fun time, you know? So, yeah. Love.